Hey guys, it's First Lady Speaks, and I have not been on for a while because I have been so busy to the point where I kind of lost myself and didn't realize that I wasn't doing what I was called to do, which is speaking. But today, I got up this morning and it touched my heart. Like it's been on my mind for a very long time. But today it really touched my heart because I woke up this morning and God was speaking to me in my sleep. He was speaking to me when I woke up. So I want to speak to the parents of today's society. And what I'm trying to convey or get the message over to you guys is that kids, no matter what you give them in life, no matter how good you think you have raised your children, no matter what have transpired through their childhood, and you think that you have gave them the best and done your all with them, your work still is not done. And I say that to say this. I had a conversation with one of my children, and I will say my children grew up in a two-parent home. They did not see me and their dad fight. We were married. They seen us argue. I will say that. He has never put his hands on me. So they didn't grow up around that type of stuff. They grew up in a sheltered home. They had everything. We did the norm like a normal family. We did church, everything. We made sure they had everything they needed and wanted. So with that being said, so I was going through a news feed maybe a month ago, and I'm the type of parent that I have to see what my children is doing no matter what. I don't care if they are grown or if they're kids. I still have to check on them to see what they're doing when I'm not around. And they know that I'm going to go on their social media. They know I'm going to check and see what they're doing. They know I'm going to speak on it, and they know that I'm going to tell them exactly how it is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So I was scrolling through Instagram, and I seen on Instagram a message of a young girl and her boyfriend. I mean, it was a beautiful message. And at first I wasn't, thinking about the message. I was just, looking at the picture because, you got to click on it in order to hear the sound and, stuff like that. So I was just looking at it. So for some reason, I just kept seeing this on Instagram on other people's news feeds. So I'm like, let me just click on it and see, what it is. So I clicked on it, and of course, it was a sad message. It was a young girl, very beautiful young girl. She was with her boyfriend, and one of the pictures had her and her boyfriend. I'm not gonna say she was with her boyfriend, but it was just showing so many beautiful pictures and memories of her. And what happened was she ended up killing herself. So, and of course, this news feed that I was seeing, it was tied to one of my children. So, of course, I'm gonna ask questions and try to find out, things, what's going on, what happened to her, stuff like that. So as I, questioned one of my children, what happened with the young girl was she was depressed. She was so depressed. Her parents did not know she was depressed. Her parents, like me, she had everything. She grew up in a two-parent household. But one thing I would say that I got out of it was, and I can speak for myself as well, because just because we buy our children everything, just because we feel like they're sheltered, just because we think that, my child won't do this because they was raised like this, they won't do that, but that is not true. Because my children was raised in a loving family on my mother's side and on their father's side. And the things that they currently doing right now, I don't approve of. But that's not what I want to, that's not the message that I want to talk about. But anyway, so like I said, you could do whatever you for your kids, but when it's up to that child to make the right decision for themselves. But as parents, we still have to stay in their lives no matter what, because this young girl was suffering. She was suffering so bad that her parents worked so much that they forgot to ask her, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What's on your mind? What did you do today? How did that make you feel? And we as parents, sometimes we get sidetracked with working so much that we forget that we still need to be active in their lives. We still need to, figure out what's going on in their head. Just because they seem happy around you doesn't mean they're happy. Go behind them when they're not home. Go in their room, check things out, see what's going on, because they could be hurting so bad, holding some things inside, and be so embarrassed that they feel like they can't talk to their parents. And depression is real. The young girl killed herself, and her parents didn't find out any of this, and they did not know that she was suffering from depression, because she seemed like a happy young girl. She was making good grades in school. She lived in a 2-parent household, but they forgot to ask her, how do she feel? What is going on in her life? How things are affecting her on the inside. We worry about the outside, but what's going on the inside? So that's one of the things that it just touched my spirit. So I always try to talk to my kids and try to find out what's going on the inside with them. And boys, they pretty much, they'll tell me so much, and because they're boys, and I leave that up to their dad at that point, because I feel like, they're only going to tell me so much, and that's just how kids are. So, and I still go behind them. I still check their social media and everything, because I want to make sure their headspace is in the correct space to figure out if they, doing something they got no business doing, or you just doing this to try to fit in with your friends. But anyway, so, I was having a conversation with my daughter, and it affected her really bad. And she had been going through some emotions, since she graduated. She graduated at 16. I was kind of skeptical of allowing her to graduate at 16 because she was so young, and in my mind, she was mature on the outside, but on the inside, I felt like she wasn't ready. So as the year went by, I didn't tell her this. I sat back and I observed and I watched her, and she proved to me that she was ultimately ready to graduate. So she graduated at 16, went to college. She's still currently in college, and she moved out and moved into her dorm. And she gets on me all the time. She's always like, "Mom, I'm okay. I'm fine. Just go ahead, do this, do that, whatever." But one thing I realized, and I had to make her understand, that now that you're in college, you're still not grown, for one. 2, you're still my child. And 3, I still have to look after you no matter what. So she's in college, and I still check her social media. I still try to talk to her and find out, her physical being, her emotional being, her spiritual being. I try to be there for everything, because we do not know what these children is going through in today's society. I mean, this world has changed so much from the time when I was growing up as a child to today. And it's so many things that can trigger their emotions and have them to shut down, to the point where we, at some point, sometime, if you're not in their lives like you're supposed to be, you won't understand where they went wrong. So, the way I grew up, I grew up with my mom. My father wasn't in my life. I grew up with my mom. I had my godmother and I had my godfather, and my godfather was replacing my father. And he did a great job. I love him. He treated me like I was his daughter. He showed me things that, my father did not do. He was there for me in times when I needed, a man in my life to show me and help me understand certain situations and choices in life. So when I was growing up, I wanted to make sure my children had the same thing. And I did not want them growing up feeling like they could not come to me and talk to me, or they felt like I was not there for them. And that's what us parents would do. We will work so much to the point where we forget that we still need to be in their life. We still need to be there for them no matter what. Even as an adult, we still have to be in their life and support them and help them and guide them. Because to this day, I still need my mom for guidance and support and understanding. So as an adult, and I think about it, I look back on my own children. I know, even when they're grown, they're still going to need us for guidance and support and understanding, and emotionally and physically, monetarily, financially, if you want to say that, however you want to put it, they still going to need us in their life no matter what. So if your children is grown, don't brush them off or say, oh, they're grown now, I can't do this and I can't do that, because you can. It was just on my spirit that I wanted to touch bases on that, because it's so many children dying today because of depression, and parents do not know and understand why they are depressed, or why their children are acting out, or why even when I see kids, they turn out to be quote unquote gay, and parents know from when they're a little kid that these type of things are coming about. They know, they see it, they just don't want to face it. They don't want to face the fact that their child is going to be gay. And if that child is grown and that's a choice that they want to make, just understand and help them understand the Bible and the consequences behind that. And if that's the choice that they want to make, let them have that choice. Still love them. Still treat them as they're your child. Don't treat them any differently or make them feel like they gotta hide it because you don't accept it. Still, for one, you're not a judge. You can't judge them. That's the first thing. So if you don't accept them or make them feel like they're not a part of you, you're judging them. You can't. You're not a judge. Nobody can judge no one on this earth but the Creator that made us, which is God. So I just feel so bad for this generation. I've done it so many times. I remember one time I was at work, and it was this young guy came in, filled out an application, and I just happened to see his arms. He had a bunch of cuts and marks all over his arms, and I asked him, in the interview, and he was in my office, and I asked him, I say, what are those cuts on your arm? He was not expecting me to ask him that. And I needed to know, one, because you're going to be in my facility working under me, and you're going to be around people that, I care about, and I need to know your background. So, like I say, he had these cuts on his arm, so I asked him. He put his head down, and I immediately, before he could say anything else, I said, let me explain something. You can talk to me. I said, no matter what you tell me, whatever you tell me is going to stay right here in this room between you and I. I say, but at the end of the day, those cuts that's on your arm, you never have to do that, because you are loved. You don't have to cut yourself up to make others see it, to feel sorry, or for you to be guilty of something that you're doing. So right after I gave my little speech to him, and I helped him understand things in life and different scenarios, situations, and I told him of things that I faced growing up as a child and as an adult, stuff like that. He opened up and he told me, he was like, I tried to kill myself so many times because I was going through a lot. My parents, all they did was drink and this and that. And this is a stranger talking to me. And he was a kid. He was no more than 21, 22 years old. And, he's out looking for a job. Of course, I hired him. And I gave him an opportunity. And it's so crazy because when he was on my shift, I was the only person he respected. And it's about how you treat someone. It's about how you come to them, and it's about that mirror image. You have to understand and put yourself in that person's shoes before you try to before you can try and say don't do this or don't do that. Put yourself in them shoes and see, why did they do that? What made them do that? And if you don't understand it, ask questions. And that's what I do all the time. People get mad with me because they say that's all I do is ask questions, because I want to know. If I don't understand something, I'm going to ask, why did you do this? Or why is it like this? Or what made it be this way? Like, I want to know. And if you can't give me a sound answer to the reason why, or for the reason that I'm asking this question, then I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to figure out why I shouldn't do it, because you don't have the answer to explain to me why I shouldn't. And then once I learn, I figure out a better way to do it. That's just how I am. And it's not because I'm being defiant. It's not because I feel like, I'm better than, than the next person or anything like that. It's just who I am. Like, I have to know. Like, I'm not going to go by something someone tell me and you haven't lived it or done it yourself. I'm just not that type of person. So, long story short, I hired the young man, and he was so grateful that I hired him. And it was so much going on in his life. He just wanted a job. That's all he wanted, was a job. And he told me, he said, I dropped out of high school at 16. He was like, I'm trying to, save up enough money so I can get my GED. And I asked him, I say, well, once you get your GED, what's your plans? He had it laid out what he wanted to do. And, I tried to help him get his GED. Because, again, these are kids. This is our generation. It takes a village to raise a child. Even though he's grown, he's still searching and reaching out and trying. And that's what we have to do to this generation. If you see somebody out here trying, you see somebody out here trying to get to somewhere in life where, you see them, help them out. Don't sit there and watch them struggle when you know you have the avenues and the means to help them out. Help our children. Be there for them. Talk to them. Don't preach to them, because they don't want to hear you preaching to them, because they've been preached probably to all their lives. So they don't want you preaching to them or trying to spoil them on something. So, back to, like I say, the young girl, she's gone, and I just feel so bad for her parents. And, we just have to stay in these kids' lives and help them understand and show them different walks of life. I was over in Jamaica. I got a chance to see how their culture was. I was in the Dominican Republic, and Dominican Republic really opened up my eyes on a lot. And I was with my partner, and we was in the Dominican Republic, and we was having a great time. And we was on this excursion, and this little girl, well, as we was traveling on the excursion, and it reminded me of a movie, and it was a bunch of bushes, and we traveling, and I just see a bunch of kids, a bunch of black children come running out of these bushes, and they're running on the side of us. And it amazed me, because instantly I thought about this movie that I watched, and I can't think of the name of the movie, but I believe it was I can't think of the name of the movie, but it was a train where the train was coming and they come running out of the forest, and they jump on the train or whatever. But it reminded me of that movie, and the kids, they were running. They were just running, and it was speaking their language. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but more of the whole thing was they had these little flowers in their hand, and they wanted me to buy these flowers for them for $1. But that was my first time in Dominican Republic, so I did not understand. And my partner was telling me, that's what they do. However, I didn't know. And so as we further along on the excursion or whatever, I'm just looking like, is this for real? Like, is this their culture? Is this their life? This is the way they live? They didn't have on no shoes. I mean, the little girl had to be no more than 12 years old. The other kids had to be like 11, 10, because it was a bunch of them. It had to be like 10. It had to be like 10 years old, 9, 8, 7, 6, and the youngest was like 5. And so we continued on the excursion. They continued to run, and behind us and on the side of us. And finally we reached our destination, and it was some more kids. And I just was looking, and as we was traveling, I'm looking at these houses, and you could see through the front door all the way out the back door. They had no furniture, no power. They sitting on buckets, and I got a chance to look at this, and it absolutely moved me, because we don't understand how blessed we are. But that's another subject I'm going to touch on, but I want to stay on track of, we need to love our teens, and, talk to them and try to get them to understand that no matter where you are in life, appreciate, value it, understand, and love every moment of your life, because everybody have a history. Everybody has some dark secrets in their lives that they don't want nobody to know about, or something that has happened in their life that, everybody is trying so hard to understand, why you are acting the way you're acting. And we have to understand that they're not going to open up to a stranger, or they're not going to open up because of maybe abuse at home. You never know what's going on at home, but we have to be able to help raise these children. And if we have ways to open up doors for them, let's reach out and open these doors for these kids, because I know back home they don't do that. Since I moved to Atlanta, this is what Atlanta does. They help out each other. They love each other, and I'm not saying that, Atlanta's the best thing, best place or whatever, but the culture is totally different, and the vibe is very much different compared to my hometown. So with that being said, I just wanted to touch bases on that, and, just let you guys know, stay on top of your kids, man. If you see that, they stay in their room, and go through their phones, sit and pick their minds and figure out what their mind is, and try to, get them to open up to you, because just because they seem happy doesn't mean they're happy. Just because they seem like, everything is great, and, you providing everything for them, and that's not it. That's not it. So, I just wanted to say that. And love your teens, love your children, love your friends, love your family, love your neighbors, just love everybody. Just open up your hearts. This time is the time that we're living in is crazy, and the only way we're going to change it is if we change it together. We have to do this together. And another thing, wear your mask. Yes, wear your mask. I have mine. I'm in my car. Once I get out my car, I'm definitely going to put my mask on. So, again, I just want to touch bases on that. You guys are going to see more videos coming from me live like this. And talking to you guys so you guys can understand that, you know, in life, you know, it's a beautiful thing. No matter what background you come from, appreciate it, love it. You know, I learned to love and I learned to value every aspect of my life. I'm not embarrassed of anything about my life. And that's the great thing about it. And I just want everybody to get in that same space. Like, don't hide where you come from. Don't hide what has happened in your life. Don't let what has happened in your life dictate your future, because every day is a new day and turning into a bright and better day. First Lady Speaks.